So much of our success as investors is our ability to sit in the tension between risk and profit. I think sometimes people listen to these podcasts or you read the books because you're trying to find this special, one of a kind answer to this question. And I really want you to know that part of your win, part of why real estate investing is so great is that it's not special. There is nothing that hasn't been solved yet. Nothing. Let's start with some myths. That multifamily is too expensive. It's not. There are options within your budget. Don't get too stuck on, well, you are different. I'm not. And you need to focus on all of the ways I'm not different, that we are the same, because that's how you get here too.
Today, I'm talking with Deandra McDonald, a multifamily investor who went from just a $20,000 a year teacher salary and about $3,000 in savings to owning over 50 doors in Virginia. We get into how that eventually led to negotiating a motel off Craigslist and turning it into a cash flowing machine. She also shares some of the biggest myths around how to branch into multifamily. And then my favorite towards the end is she talks about her process for building real pain tolerance and increasing your resilience as a real estate investor. It's an awesome conversation. All that and more coming up next. Welcome back, friends. My name is Brady, and this is my co-host, Ebony, my wonderful co-host. And today we are talking with the wonderful Deandra McDonald.
Woo!
Deandra, welcome. I'm so excited.
Thank you so much. Excited to be here.
Excited to have you.
We got to meet at BPCon as well a couple months ago, not too long ago. I loved your energy. I loved your story. We got to see you speak on stage at BPCon, which was a blast.
Did you come see it? How exciting.
I did, yes.
Oh, that feels good. Okay,
Stage.
wow.
One quick thing before we get into it, Deandra, this is an important time for you. You just had at the time of recording, you recently had what? Tell us. Yes.
I don't know if this is video and audio. But I just released a new book. Yes, The Multifamily Advantage. Let's see the whole title. We spent a lot of time workshopping it. Breaking free from the single family trap to scale into early retirement. So Deandra McDonald, multifamily investor. Multifamily is the profits, the systems, everything to me works better for my lifestyle and has gotten me to be a point where I'm work optional. So if everything blew up today, and I tell you, as someone who was on TikTok, I have had crying goodbyes on TikTok 3-4 times this year because it was supposed to be gone, right? It's supposed to have disappeared. But every time I was like, I'm genuinely sad we don't get to be together anymore. But don't get it twisted. My bills are still paid because of my investments. So yes.
That's awesome. We'll dive into that in a little bit. I want to talk about why you're so jazzed about multifamily. But you've been a landlord for a minute. You've been a RentRedi customer for a minute.
Yes.
Tell me, how many doors do you have and how long you been investing?
At this point, given day, between 50 and 60 doors, depending on what we're buying. Like we sell a couple next week. We're buying a couple in a few weeks. I started investing in 2015. So my very first property, as much as I don't like single families, was a single family because that's all I had. Yeah. That I had $3,000 to my name, doing my best with my little $28,000 a year job in order to make it work. And all I could qualify for at that point was, half a duplex. So no HOA, even though it was like conjoined living, but that's all I could qualify for. But that is what got me into multifamilies. That property, that single family I bought is what gave me the money through its equity to buy my first multifamily property. And so sometimes I tell people to buy a house, you got to buy a house. And I know that sounds frustrating, but for a lot of people, that's how you do it. You bought something you could. Mm-hmm. You held on for 5 or 6 years. And now we can buy the thing you want.
Okay, so you went from one single family, then a multifamily. I want to know before I move any more forward, what's your end game in this? You're at 50, 60 properties right now. Why are you
Brady,
actually investing?
I'm so sick of the debt. That's the big, I'm so sick of the debt. So right now, all of it is like, I want to be debt free by 40 across the board. Yeah. I don't want to have any debt on any of my properties. I want to put them in trusts, lock them up and be done. I make more than enough. But part of my job as an investor is to lower my risk. And right now, one of the biggest risk factors in my particular situation is my debt. Yeah. And so what I'm going to focus on for the next 5 to 6 years is making sure that debt is paid in full so I can turn 40 free and clear.
What a great feeling that must be. I don't know what it's like, but what a great feeling. Let me know what it feels like when you get there, okay?
That's right. Yeah. And that's really so let me give you some more insider information because that's what this podcast is about, right? Yeah. In 2020, my husband went to grad school. He got his PhD. He's now graduated. He has his PhD in special education. He's a teacher. Love it. But he has student loan debt. And when we went into COVID, it was a combo of him going back to school and also the student loan payment pause that meant that he didn't have to pay his student loans back. And for the first time, we felt what it would be like if our college had been paid for. Right? For the first time, we felt the space that other people must be operating in who don't have $500, $600, $800 student loan payments that they've had to make for a decade, right? That's 10 grand a year going to that payment. And when we got it back, you really could feel the like, oh, how exciting can life be making 50 grand a year?
Yeah.
When you have no debt.
Okay, so tell me this. What did life look like before you dove into the real estate investing?
Life looked like waiting to get paid. When I graduated college, I had a degree in chemistry, and I could not get a job in my field. I also knew I had about 6 months before I had to have my first student loan payment. And so I was in a rush to find some sort of income. But every job I found wasn't full-time or didn't have benefits or didn't have the hours I wanted. So I wound up working 4 or 5 part-time jobs in order to pay my rent. None of the paychecks were big enough to do anything on their own. And I don't want to say it felt bleak as much as it just felt stagnant. Like, this is it.
What do you think was the hardest part about taking that leap?
So, Brady, believe it or not, it wasn't as hard as you would think because my alternative felt so terrible. This is a big reason it's a little difficult to teach some people now. Because for me, it felt like there was no other option. This hamster wheel is it, right? If I don't try something new, I know exactly what my life is going to look like, what I'm living, and this makes me deeply unhappy. But it can't be any worse than the situation I'm in now. In this moment, I could see why I might hesitate a little bit more, right? Life's good. If I would have gotten a job right out of college, I wouldn't have been an investor. I know that with my whole heart.
So give us in depth, right? Like, what's your portfolio look like? How'd you acquire the first properties? I know you told us that you got the single family because that's what you could afford. But give us a little bit more about like how you ended up with that property and what's your favorite acquisition story?
Ooh. So I ended up with my first property because that was on the market, right? Remember, I told you I had $3,000. I got approved for $85,000. And he said, here's 2 properties. And we went to see the first one. And it was only listed that low because they had had a house fire. And I was like, so I'm not going to get approved for this one, right? This is not going to pass inspection. And we went to the second one. And I remember kicking the walls and rolling the marbles and putting the pencil on the wall, trying to find something wrong with it. Because why is this property listed for so cheap? And I guess it was supposed to be mine because it was listed. It was on the market for like 4 months. We put in an offer, got full seller concessions, sub 4 interest rate. And this is 2015. So like life felt great. My first mortgage was $530. So back to that paying that hamster wheel, right? All my money went to living. And with one property, even without roommates, I went from paying $725 to $530. I got $200 back. When I then got a roommate who paid me $500, I went from having rent to living for free. So with one purchase, I then got this swing of $700 a month. And again, $100 would have made a massive difference in my life. But $700, I couldn't even fathom. I, for the first time, had weekends off again because I wasn't working 4 jobs in order to like pay bills. And then as my income continued to grow, but my lifestyle stayed the same, I finally had excess or some breathing room to develop. So that was my very first property. My favorite acquisition was my first motel. So one of the things that got really popular for on social media was telling the story of how I flip motels or I convert motels into studios and 1-bedroom apartments. And that wasn't intentional, right? Because some people are like, oh, what a great mindset. I'm sure it sounds like that now, but at that moment, that was all I could afford, right? I was so used to putting down $3,000, $10,000, right? These 3 to 5% down payments. And my husband, after we got married, was like, so leave and cleave, huh? Like we can't have roommates forever. I'm like, we can't. He said, no, we can have roommates. That means no more 3.5% down payments, right? That means no more 5% down payments. I'm in a 20% down payment world now. So I had a $50,000 down payment. But even with that, for a commercial property, that's a $200,000 purchase price. For house hacking, that's over $1 million. That's over $1.5 million. So my expectations were like, I'm a little skewed here because I'm trying to buy a multifamily for under $200,000, and I want to make at least $1,500 a month. And I'm not in Detroit or Ohio, right? Any of these places, they're like, oh, these cheap properties.
Right.
And
Columbus, Ohio. Yeah.
Right. That's right. But as I looked, I couldn't find anything. I looked online. I would put up flyers. I would tell people. And one day when I was teaching, I was just scanning Craigslist, and I happened to see this motel for sale. They were studios, but they had little kitchenettes. So this is more of a long-term stay motel situation. And it was listed for $190,000. And it was 10 units. And I said, it looks like an apartment building because it looks like it's a motel, right? You pull right off in the side, you walk right in. Can I use this for long-term housing? Is that allowed? So I spoke to my realtor. He said, look up the zoning. Zoning approved it, was fine. And I went to see it, middle of nowhere. And I pulled up, and it was everything the picture said, right? The units definitely needed work. The community had for sure been, I wouldn't say neglected, but definitely didn't have a direction. I think the landlord was doing his best, but was very reactive to what was happening, not proactive about how he wanted his community to be led. As a teacher, you can imagine walking into a classroom and you only respond when there's an issue. You're not putting anything into practice before the problems arise. I kept asking, what's wrong with it? Why have I found this? What's wrong? I can't understand why this 10-unit property in a commercial space is $190,000. And it was. And we did inspections and we went to every unit, and some of those units were rough. I remember think motel rooms, right? These are a solid 350, 375 square feet. And she had 3 cats in there. And I was like, oh, boy. Oh, man. Is right. I wound up needing to fix the roof. Definitely doing some lawn work. We had to get the price down because it was too expensive. So I wound up buying that property for like $160,000 when all was said and done.
What
and it
year
gave
was
me
this?
this was 2019. Got a massive seller concession because the roof was in terrible shape. It just slowly turned it around over but it was a 12 to 18 month process, right? You got people living here. You got work that needs to be done. They have to adjust to new management, which is going to take some time. But that was probably my favorite because it taught me really, and I knew this as a teacher already, but that I could do hard things. Very little is an immediate response that you have to fix today. You can figure stuff out over time, and you have the capacity to do so. We can do this.
That's awesome. How long did that deal take to close, Deandra?
6 months. And really because when I first went to see it in January, I went to a commercial lender. So I had never gone to a commercial lender before, right? Everything I'd done before was house hacking. And they were actually, let me back up. In December of 2018, when I knew I was ready to buy again, I went to a bunch of commercial lenders. I was trying to get pre-approved the same way I did for residential loans. And they were like, we don't really do that, right? We don't really pre-approve because it's so heavily based on the property. So we can give you a rough estimate of maybe what you can borrow, but we want to see what property you're buying. It's not like you have $200,000 to buy whatever you want.
Right.
And so I kind of had an idea, but everyone was like, yeah, we're up for it. You seem good. Your credit's good, blah, blah, blah. I find this property. I come back. Every single one of them says no, except for one who's like, you need to have more reserves. And I said, I'm confused. You told me a month ago, and they're like, yeah. But do you guys have to follow a certain criteria? Nope. These are our loans. We don't sell these on the market to anybody else. We don't sell it to Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. We keep them in-house. So we essentially can say whatever we want. If we don't like the property, we don't like it. It's too small. The rents are too cheap. It's too far away. It's too outdated. But the one who said reserves, I said, okay, reserves it is. So I went and sold one of my properties, Brady. So this is January.
Oh, goodness.
I'm told no. I can't put it under contract because I have no financing. I say, okay, I have a condo I can sell. I wanted to sell it anyway. I'm going to sell this condo, up my reserves. That takes 2 months. Whole time, Brady, I'm like, I hope they don't sell it. I hope they don't sell it. But that's all I can do. I hope they don't sell it. I hope they don't sell it. I sell the property. I get the money. And it was a cash buyer, so we're moving quick. Sell the money, get the property. I go back to the bank. I say, I did everything you said I was supposed to do. Here we go. And they were like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I just don't really like it. I know what I told you, but like, yeah. And it made me feel like, I don't think you thought I was coming back, but I've been moving with the thought that you were going to approve me afterwards. So now back to the drawing board. I'm down a property. I'm still not under contract. And so I had to find other lenders. And I finally found one, and they were like, yeah. So this is the only 7, 8. And I was like, sure. Do you need any extra? Nope. And then also talking about like the finickiness of getting financing. Of you just don't know what you don't know because they're not government regulated in the same way as primary residence loans, right? But they finally said yes. So I went back and I was like, is it still here? And this was April, maybe May. And he said, yeah. And that's when we negotiated down, got under contract. I was with that bank. They have funded a number of properties for me now. And we closed that June for my birthday. I bought that property. Wound up being.
Oh my gosh.
Question. Which process do you like better, residential or commercial lending?
So residential, you know what you're going to get. I think I like that. Like I can do all the calculations on my own. I know the interest rate. I know what documents I need. So many documents. It's like, but you get it. Commercial loans are way just more about the numbers and the property. And honestly, Ebony, it's more about the relationships. So now at this point with my lender, we don't even really, I don't have to submit anything, right? You have everything you need. I just have to submit the stuff for the property. So that's what makes it easier. But often when I'm going to him for the 20 units. And I'm just like, oh, okay, well, since we're going for such big properties, I'm going to have to work really hard when this is finished.
So you're obviously a big multifamily fan. Like, what are some of your favorite things on multifamily, or maybe like some of the myths that people have, that landlords have around multifamily that keeps them from going from single family to multifamily?
Okay. Let's start with some myths. That multifamily is too expensive. It's not. Especially when I see and I hear people investing in places like DC and Atlanta. Those Atlanta people will have you believing a $400,000, $500,000 house is the only option out there, where we just bought a 6-unit for $450,000. There are options within your budget. And to believe that multifamily is too expensive, I think is deeply incorrect. Another myth is that it's harder. I
had myself on mute. I didn't realize that. Sorry.
Okay. I was like, I see your mouth moving, but I don't know.
Well, I was going to say 450 divided by 6. I'm bad at fast math, but that's pretty dang affordable.
Right? That's how I'm feeling, right? When you're buying $80,000 condos, you bought a bunch of them together. Okay, great. But it's cheaper per unit often anyway. But if you were going to buy in that city, I suggest you look for multifamily because it's probably just as inexpensive. You're just getting more bang for your buck. And that leads into the second myth, is that it's harder. I don't think multifamily is harder to manage. I think it is significantly easier to manage. I went to see a property today, considering making a single family a duplex. But for each single family, we were talking about the pipes. Hey, the pipes are old, so we're probably gonna have to replace this line. That's every single family, right? With multifamily, I have 6, 1 pipe. I have 6 units, 1 roof. I have 6 units, 1 septic. I have 6 units, 1 driveway. I have 6 units, 1 lawn, 1 set of gutters, 1 fence line. All of that is minimized when I'm managing multifamily properties. And that's what we lose a lot of money, or not lose a lot of money, but that's what costs a lot of money. Admin, maintenance, routine work, all of that is smaller with the right multifamily property.
Yeah. Interesting.
I love that so much. You are preaching my language. I preach this to every one of the landlords. Because I am a multifamily woman. I believe in multifamilies only. I only do multifamilies because if one of my tenants move out, those other properties are gonna pay that rent, and I'm still not paying out of pocket for the mortgage. Multifamilies are always the way to go.
Absolutely.
But I hadn't thought about multifamilies as in, I'm small multifamily. I'm thinking like duplex or a triplex or, things like that. But 6 and 10, and that's because once you get that, then you're out of like the FHA kind of things. You're like more along the lines of the other things. And that's what scares me, trying to get lending for those.
And I would say it's the same process, right? At least the first time. You're submitting your taxes and you're submitting your pay stubs, not because you're getting the loan in your name necessarily,
Mm-hmm.
But because they want to make sure you're not a hazard,
Yes.
you're not a liability. They want to make sure you can at least handle your own stuff before we look at the property. But the strategic management is where we really save money. I'll give you another one, court dates, right? When you have 20 units in the same county, it's the same eviction schedule. It's the same sheriff. It's the same.
I could ask questions of this stuff all day. I appreciate you sharing this. I mean, we could tell stories all day, but I want to make sure we have enough time for your 10-minute tactic you want to share with the audience. Before we head into that real quick, Ebony, you got a smart landlord tip for everyone listening.
I absolutely do. So, the worst way to keep track of expenses for rentals is cramming all your receipts into a junk drawer. The best way is to snap a pic inside the RentRedi app, have our AI categorize your expenses, create your profit and loss, and schedule E for you. Make sure to try out our new expense tracking on the mobile app or rentredi.com.
I love it. Okay, so Deandra, before we hit record, you were saying you had some really good stuff to share about getting intentional about pain tolerance and being uncomfortable. I'd love to hear about your regimen. What do you got for us?
So much of our success as investors, especially those of us who manage our own properties, is our ability to sit in the tension between risk and profit. Too many people, I think, come to real estate investing thinking it's a guaranteed return. And part of that is social media's fault, right? There was a period of time where real estate was the hot topic, passive income, passive income, passive income. You don't have to do anything and just be paid. Also, you never have to fix nothing. Nothing ever goes wrong. You just put money out, you get money in, and it's perfect forever. But that's not what investments are. That's a job where you put in and you know exactly what you get out of it. Investments inherently have risk that we have to work to lower, but we have to be intentional if we don't know everything there is to know about the investment. So as we think about our learning, we have to consider what we're doing. What's our training regimen in order to get better? For some people, it's reading. Absolutely. You're reading books about management or short-term rentals versus midterm rentals. You're reading about taxes or about partnerships. You're reading. That's one way to get more information. Another is to shadow, right? I do this with contractors all the time, is I ask if I can follow around and ask questions. Some people might say no, and you're at work. I get it. I know I'm paying you for this, but you're at work. Understood. But sometimes I call a plumber and say like, hey, if you happen to have, don't force it, but if you happen to have 2 hours free in your schedule, will you come and walk me through my system? Because I don't know what all these things are. I don't know the difference between these types of pipes and this type of pipe. I don't know where my shutoff is. Maybe you can help me figure out. I don't know. They didn't explain it to me. Hey, electrician, can you walk me through the amps, how that's different, and the breakers? Just help me learn, and not just about any property, y'all, about my properties. What's going on in my buildings? Help me better understand. I had the septic guy come. He did a whole walkthrough. And I'm like, oh, I would get in the septic tank if I could. I want to understand it, right? Because this is costing me a lot of money. And if this breaks, it's going to cost me $25,000. So yes, please help me learn so that I can better handle this.
Yeah.
One way is to try. To get out there. I was just talking to my membership. I have a few people that I coach about, you guys have these houses that you live in yourself and you never fix nothing in your house. You never try. Replace the toilet. You got time, right? Especially if you have multiple toilets and you have time, they can go upstairs to another toilet for a little bit. Learn to replace a toilet. Fix a light fixture. What is it like to put the wires in the back of a stove? You have this great canvas to practice, to get better at painting, and you're gonna be bad. That's the whole point. You're gonna be bad, but you can be bad in your own house on your own schedule. Much better than being bad in front of a tenant who you got to get this fixed right away. And you're YouTubing. This is not the time to do so. One more with my training regiment is to never go past my maximum. I know when we're working out, you have a few days where you're like, I want to know how heavy I can lift. That is for 1 or 2 reps. Right? I'm not going to then say I need to do 3 sets of 10. So those of you, Ebony included, right? Hey, Ebony should not go out and buy a 100-unit building and think she's going to manage it herself, right? That's going to max reps all the time. I shouldn't beat my mic. That's going to max reps all the time. That's crazy. And that's crazy to think that that is sustainable and or enjoyable versus saying to yourself, hey, I own a 2-unit. Looking at my time frame, looking at my capacity at work with my family, with my own mental space, I could probably do a 4. Maybe push to a 5. That feels like I've done 2. I could maybe double it versus 2 to 50.
Yeah.
Like intentionally be stepwise. I sometimes buy properties just for practice. And I know that that sounds crazy, but that's what it is. I bought the 6-unit I just bought was not to make any money. It does, and it's fine, right? That's but it was to practice a new property manager. It was to practice with new landscaping because I do want to expand in that area, but I don't want the first property I give them to be a 50-unit property. I want to see how they work with the 6. I'm not making you my franchise player until I see how you perform. So I would say if you want to grow, understand it's not just going to be a moment that you have to show up and perform for. It is a period of time you intentionally train for. But sometimes I look at people's training schedules and am unimpressed with what they're practicing.
Yeah, it's funny. Ebony and I were just talking on one of our recent podcasts with Sam from Slovakia, and he was telling us how he uses a time management app, and it's pretty manual, but like he logs all his hours, and he was describing that first aha moment of like the first time I looked at what I was actually spending up my time on and where I was spending it and how much that all added up versus what I thought in my head, totally different.
Yes.
Mind blown.
Okay, I have a question for you. I was on your page.
Okay.
And I was watching some of your reels, and you had a 2025 goal of 100.
Yes.
Tell me how that went.
So my goal for 2025 was to help 100 people invest in real estate, right? And I was like, you could be 1 to 3. You're either a house hacker, so we're buying a primary residence. You are like your own individual investor. You own the property, you're buying it, or you're going to be a part of some of our joint ventures where we collectively buy. And we have well surpassed that goal. I think we're at like 152. Really killed it. And just feeling very grateful and hoping that other people feel inspired. Part of what I'm trying to do next year is do more podcasts similar to you guys, where y'all talking to them. Because it's easy. It is so easy to say, well, you're different. And Deandra, it only worked for you because you did whatever. And I'm like, these are regular people doing the same thing I did because I was regular. Some of y'all... Okay, I'm on my soapbox. I know Brady's going to keep us on track. I think sometimes people listen to these podcasts or you read the books because you're trying to find this special, unique, one-of-a-kind answer to this question. And I really want you to know that part of your win, part of why real estate investing is so great is that it's not special. It's not unique.
It's not.
These are not specialty problems. And what a gift it is. What a gift it is that all your problems have been solved. There is nothing that hasn't been solved yet. Nothing. All you need to do is locate what the answer is. You just need to repeat what's there. And I know some people, I want to be original. Yuck. Uninterested. I want to follow the paths that have made people money. So don't get too stuck on, well, you are different. I'm not. And you need to focus on all of the ways I'm not different, that we are the same, because that's how you get here too.
Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with everything you just said, Deandra, because I'm a creative at heart.
You and Kayla the same. Oh, my goodness. I want to be unique, original. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, man. It makes you slow. It makes you overthink and overcomplicate when you think like, oh, there's something new under the sun. But in reality, there's not. And so, yeah, everybody's done it before you. I love that.
You do not have to recreate the wheel. Just follow the plan. Just follow the plan.
Absolutely. I want to do a quick little fire round. I did not prepare you for. We'll do a few questions real quick before we wrap this up. My 2 takeaways, I just want to say out loud so I remember, and for anyone listening, mess up on your own timeline. I love that. Like practice at being your own landlord first. I love that. And then the other one was just don't go to max reps all the time, which is so obvious in a physical setting in the gym, or like I'm a runner. So I wouldn't like, if I'm going to go run another marathon, I would not like run 20 miles tomorrow. It's so stupid. But we head into projects and deals with that mentality of like, oh, I can do this. You know, I'm going to bite off way more than I can chew. And you don't even think about it, but you would not do that at the gym. So I think that one's going to stick with me. That's powerful.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Don't do max reps all the time. Okay, quick little fire round, and then we'll wrap up this podcast. All right, first question: what are the top tools that you rely on as a real estate investor?
I love things that make repetitive tasks simple. Right? I grew up in private school. I wear uniforms all the time. I need life to be easy. I can't have all these options to choose from, right? So one of them is my jumper. I wear my little Carhartt jumper. I bought it in 2020. Obsessed with it. It's got paint on it, holes. It get messed up all the time, but I don't ruin my clothes because I know I'm going to be doing these same tasks over and over again.
Yeah.
And another one, right, would be RentRedi, because I don't want to do these tasks all the time. I don't want to send invoices all the time. I don't want to remind tenants to pay rent. I don't want to figure out where my maintenance calendar is and how that ties into my handyman and can he see it. This allows me to make all of those repetitive, consistent, routine tasks subconscious. And so those would be the two things that I would use on a regular basis, my two tools.
I love that. A jumper and RentRedi. I love that. Okay, question number 2. What's a book that changed your life, and tell me the problem that it solved? And it can't be Rich Dad Poor Dad. Yeah. Yes.
I knew that was just true.
Who knows what book? Who could imagine? But if it wasn't, it would be The Small and Mighty Real Estate Investor, by Chad Carson.
Yeah.
From a teaching perspective, and sometimes from my own self, being grounded in, you actually have no goals that require 200, 300, 400 properties. You don't, right? The goals you want to accomplish and the market you're in can be done with 20 units. You don't have to go big just because that's what's being pushed online or that's what other people are doing. And so you want to be like them and it sounds really cool to give. So it helped me really focus on what do you want out of this? Because you're not trying to be I'm not going in with to try to make 7 figures of cash flow. And I know some people might, sure, but that's not what's on my agenda. Because again, when you don't have debt, or without what I want to do, you learn that like $100,000 is plenty for what I'm looking to do. And especially if that's coming with 1 day a week of work. Fantastic. So that will be my book.
All right. What you got, Ebony?
What's your advice for someone who wants to be where you are? Somebody like me.
I talked to you guys earlier about setting an intention. I think if you want to be where I'm at, you need to be real good looking in the mirror and being honest with yourself. Because some of that tension is you. And a lot of it is like, you are bad at budgeting, and that's why you're not good. That's why we don't have more properties, because you spend all the money that comes in your pocket, right? You are bad at confrontation, and that's why you have tenants who haven't paid you for 6 months. And we're in a spot where like you might lose the property. You are bad at negotiating. And that's why you keep overpaying for properties, or that's why you have partners who aren't getting what they need to get. Some of the tension in your business is your fault. And I'm really good at looking at myself and being like, no, it's you. And by really good, I mean, it might take 2-3 days, right? I might have to nurse my own feelings a little bit. And it sucks. Please understand. I am so gracious when it is somebody else's fault. Oh, we'll work through it. We can. But for me, I'm like, you are trash and you need to like get that together because you are causing other people's lives to be more difficult. But if you can look at yourself and say, I'm the problem, and I am willing to be the solution. So here's both, right? It is my fault that I'm budgeting. I'm not budgeting well. I am willing to budget every day. I am willing to change my spending habits. I am not negotiating well. So I'm willing to delegate that to somebody else. I'm willing to tell my realtor what I want, let them fly. Don't get involved because you're bad at it, right? Or I'm willing to take a class, or I'm willing to do something else to improve that. If you're willing to recognize and put in the actual work to fix the problem, you will be where I'm at in no time. And if I could add one more, how that gets in the way sometimes is our stay dreaming. I used to talk to my husband about how easy it would be to flip properties in the Midwest, right? And all I have to do is do that, and then I'm going to get $40,000, and with the 40, I'm going to pay off the car. So I'll do whatever. And he didn't say it like this, right? Because he's a good man. But essentially he was like, then do it, right? Because you are almost starting to villainize what you have for something you don't know if you can accomplish because you haven't tried to do it. Right? So some people who haven't bought real estate before start to dislike their own lives thinking real estate is going to solve all of these issues. But if you're not honest about your effort and your trying, you start to compare what could maybe be the potential of something to your actual. And that can leave you, I think, in a very broken place where you think the grass is greener, where that just might not be true.
Absolutely.
I love that. That was beautiful. What a great note to end on. I don't even want to add to that. Like, you start to villainize what you already have for something that you don't quite yet understand. All right, Deandra, I appreciate this conversation. I know Ebony does. Thank you so much for sharing your journey
Thank
with
you,
us. This has been
guys. This
such a
is
blast.
wonderful.
Yeah, I love this. Where can people find you? Where can people connect with you?
My name is Simple Real Estate, or Deandra McDonald. If you search either of those two on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, you will find me. And DeandraMcDonald.com is my website. And if you're looking to order a copy of the MultiFamily Advantage, I don't know when this is going to be released, but it is for sale either on my website or on Amazon.
Absolutely. Everybody get that? I'm going to get it right now.
Amazing. I'm so excited.
That's great. That's great. Well, thank you, Deandra, again for hopping on. Anybody listening, if you like this, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you are. If you're on YouTube, drop us a comment, share some love, share with a friend. Help us get this podcast out there, reach more people. But thanks everyone for listening, and we will see you on the next episode.